Good morning. Hello, everybody. How are you? Welcome. I'm so excited to be here. New week of coaching. How is everybody? Welcome. All righty. I'm going to give everybody a couple seconds. It literally just turned 10 o'clock. I was really quick with my start the meeting button today. Hello. How is everybody today? All right. Welcome. Okay. So, as we're waiting for just a couple more people to hop on, because I know it just turned 10, you guys can start typing into the chat if any of you who are on would like to be coached today. So if there's anything you'd like to be coached around today, you can go ahead and type it into the chat. Anything at all. Hello. Welcome. I see a couple of new names, so welcome. I'm so glad you're here. If this is your first hot seat, welcome. I'm so excited. This is one of my favorite calls. So the way that it works is if you would like to be coached live in front of the group today, you just go ahead and type into the chat what it is you'd like to be coached around, and then I pick a random person. I typically am going to pick something that I think is going to support everybody. And then I'll pull you up. I'll promote you to panelist. I'll pull you up and I will coach you. By the end of the call, it'll be amazing. So if there's anything that you would like to be coached on, you can go ahead and type it into the chat. Hello. Hi, Kayla. Okay. Okay. Ready. Go ahead. Keep typing into the chat. We've got a money theme going on today. That's cool. Okay. I'm not being a member. Okay. And can you give me a little bit more information? So fast cash infusion, what specifically are you looking for? Is the problem? Just a bit more detail so I kind of see where your brain is at. All right. All right. So I think I'm not signing. Yeah, so attraction. Okay. Okay. We're gonna go with Leona today. We're gonna figure out this number stuff. click the right button? I think so. We're gonna go through this numbers, being a numbers person, money's gross, and then I'm sure, because the money seems to be a big theme today. Anne and Kayla and Samantha and Jana and everybody else who typed in. See if there's anything similar that comes up in here. And I pushed the right button. Okay, there it is. I was worried I didn't push the right button. I was like, oh no, did I kick her out?
Yes, you did kick me out. I had to rejoin.
Oh my gosh, I could have sworn I hit promote to panelist.
I hit accept panelist and then it disappeared. I was like,
Oh
oh.
my goodness. You got lost in Zoom world. That's all good. So like I was saying, for those of you who did put other money things in there, see what, if anything, comes up here that might be similar or that you could apply to your situation. Okay. All right.
So very specifically, when we were doing the wealth class, which was amazing, there was two things that really showed up that I was like, wow, I have really cleared so many things about money. I see money as an exchange of positive energy. You know, I've shifted my income ceiling. It's totally safe and okay to make more than my parents. Like, I realized that the year before I had my injury where I had to do all the surgeries, I actually had my first like 120,000 year. Like, I was a 6-figure earner. Like, I didn't even know that because we had put filing the taxes off because I knew I didn't have the money to pay it. And because of all the surgeries. And now after my now fourth and final surgery, you know, I'm looking at money differently because I had to get creative of how to make money, right? Like, I couldn't do my normal jobs. I've like shifted all these things. But then when I took the wealth class again, right? Like, you get new toothpicks and you see things differently. And as soon as Jenn was talking about like knowing your numbers, I was like, well, I'm not a numbers person. Like, it was like without even thinking about it, that came up. And I was like, well, shit, no, I have to be a numbers person. I need to know how many people need to come on a retreat and how many massages I need to do and like how many things. If I want to be a millionaire, it takes people to get to it, and million is like numbers. So like, I need to figure out how to be a numbers person. So it was like a huge like realization that I need to shift that identity. And then the second thing was, as she was talking about the neurology, counting the money, like having it around you, tangibly touching it in order to like see the abundance in your life. And my first thought was like, ooh, gross. Like, money is dirty. Like, I'd be constantly washing my hands and I wouldn't want to bring that into the kitchen when I'm doing stuff or like around. Cause like, I literally was like, it was like a gross, like, cause it honestly, it's the number one thing. Like, touching money is actually really dirty in the amount of hands that it goes through. And so my body went through like this almost like retracting kind of feel of like, oh, gross, like money's dirty. I'm like, no, money's not dirty. It's beautiful. It's amazing. And all I'd have to do is wash my hands. Like, but it was that initial gut thing that was like, ooh, that doesn't feel good. And so I want touching money to feel good. I want to be okay with like saying like, I'm a numbers person. I know exactly how many numbers it takes for me to get those people to make that amount of money, like for a retreat or anything like that. And so I realized that were two huge things that showed up that don't need to be there, because that will only create resistance of me actually seeing more abundance in my life. And it was a great positive projection to actually win in the raffles, because I've been putting so much energy out there. It was really nice to like receive energy back, which was a huge like positive projection. But there's definitely still something that's not quite 100% total in alignment yet. But I have faith we will get there.
Yeah. Perfect. All right. So what would you like to have at the end of this session today?
I would like to have the identity shift that I am a numbers person and that money is an amazing thing to touch and to feel safe with it. Like, all I have to do is wash my hands or sanitize. And like, I've done that as a practice for me for a lot, because as owning my own business, like, I do like cash, and I always say cash is king. So when people want to tip me with money, things like that, like, I receive cash a lot of times, but I constantly put it in my wallet and then I go wash my hands. So like, it's a very, and I know that it has to have come from my mom, because my mom was very much a micromanager and very much into cleanliness. My grandfather was a doctor. And so I was instilled, wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. Like our cell phones, I'm probably one of the only people in the world that like wipes my phone down at least once or twice a day. It's like actually dirtier than like public toilet seats. Like people don't realize that because you're always touching it. Like I'm very, if I go to the grocery store, I sanitize my hands before I touch like my steering wheel. I've always been very cognitive and conscious of like hand washing and cleanliness. And so I think that's okay. There's not a problem with that, but I don't want to have a gut reaction of like seeing or touching money and just feel like this like yuck feel. Like I don't want it to feel yucky. I want it to feel like that's amazing and all I have to do is wash my hands. Like that there's not an emotional connection to it.
Perfect. So how will you know that you've had this shift, that you're like, that you can and are a numbers person, and that money, like touching the money is good and you're safe with it, and having to wash your hands is not a problem, but you can still do it, but you still want to like touch and feel the money. So how do you know that you have that?
I think it'll be a feeling in my body that I won't have that reaction when I think about holding cash in my hands. Because it's an actual feeling that I feel that feels yucky and dirty. And then I think it will be just like a knowing that I can create the aligned action steps of really breaking down like why do I need, like I need 10 people for my next retreat. Why? Because we took the amount of money that we had and we wanted and you divide it by the amount of rooms, and then that comes the dollar amount that we need to make. So it's like I am a numbers person because I need to know the dollar amount and I need to know how many people to fill a space. So but it was instantly reacted like without even thinking that I wasn't a numbers person. And I think it's always been like, I rub naked people for a living. Like, I don't need to know numbers, right? And then all of a sudden I couldn't rub naked people for a living. And I had to like figure out how to like coach and do online healing and stuff, right? And so I've been able to change and shift identities of like not just being a hands-on healer, but also a remote healer. And that has felt fine. But that reaction was it didn't feel good. So it would be like a knowing that I know that I can be a numbers person and I have the tools and the skill sets to get there. Because I mean, you have to know your numbers if you're going to make money. Like that's just matter of fact. And so I don't know why I've had such resistance, but like I've never done a forecasting. I've never written out numbers of stuff. Like if like it's the last thing, like I'd much rather like focus on all the modalities in the retreat and all the experience and what people are going to feel like in it, like without thinking about like the crunching of the numbers. Like it's the last thing of like a retreat planning or an event thing for me, which really it needs to be the first. It's a driving factor, like
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Energy.
Yes. So what, just right off the bat, what is your definition of a numbers person?
I would say that someone is just understanding them and comfortable with them, and that they lead with that. Because if you lead with the numbers and there's certainty and clarity, and you're not just like, well, it would be nice to have, like, no, you need to have 10 people in order to make money and have all the expenses covered for if you're renting out a whole facility.
Okay. So what are the qualities and characteristics of a numbers person?
They would be like certain, assertive, um, very matter of fact. Because like I see numbers people as like not as emotional, like they're very like, this is the numbers, this is what you need to have, it's just matter of fact.
Mm-hmm.
Where I think I live a lot of my life in the feelings and the emotions of things, and I don't have emotions around numbers. There's just something I have to do and something that needs to be done for my business, but it's not like it doesn't light me on fire or bring me joy, right? So it's like the last thing that I do on the to-do list of the aligned action steps.
Okay. So what other qualities and characteristics of a numbers person?
They would be organized, making like the numbers a priority. They would be focused. There would be clarity and certainty because like you would like literally know exactly what you would need to do. It'd create like a road, like I see the potential of it being like a roadmap. Like it gives you like the steps if you, and then you can backtrack from the numbers to see like what you can do from there. But for whatever reason, I've never done it in that way. It's always been in reverse. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. So how's it a problem if you are not a numbers person?
Well, I see that there would be potential of leaving money on the table. Like you didn't get all of your expenses taken care of, then you're losing money. Um, when I did a retreat out in Sedona, I needed to have 12 people, two people per room. I booked 6 rooms. Then I got locked into a contract with the hotel. They wouldn't let me cancel any other rooms. And I lost over 10 grand on that retreat because every person had their own room. So we had like 6 people. That was effective. So I've seen that I've lost money, not like accounting to making sure that the numbers mattered. Like, so I've had experience where it's screwed me over in business and I've lost a lot of money.
So if you're either leaving money on the table or you're losing the money, how's that a problem?
Well, now more than ever, because I've been so limited to the amount of work time that I've been able to put in to produce income, because I've had so much healing times, I cannot afford literally to like every penny has to be accounted for in order for me to pay rent and to like keep food on my table right now, which has not been the case for me in years past. But I had 4 major orthopedic surgeries in a year. Like it's a lot of recovery time and a lot of time that I couldn't actually work.
So how's it a problem? If you can't afford to keep losing the money, how is that a problem?
I won't be able to pay bills and it feels very irresponsible. Like I pride myself on being as spiritually woo-woo as I am. Like I understand my earthly responsibilities of paying bills and doing things, and like I'm never late on payments. Like everything is very.
So if you're irresponsible, how's that a problem?
I'm irresponsible. How's that a problem? I think it shows that I don't care or put enough effort into it. Like I can't imagine being an irresponsible person. Like that feels worse than not being a numbers person. But that's what's happened, is that that's created the problem. Like that's the basic thing that's happened and it doesn't feel good. So I know that this has to get changed.
Yes. And I just want to reflect back that by not being a numbers person, that's where the irresponsible is coming in, right? By not being a numbers person, you're losing the money or leaving it on the table, which means then you can't afford the things, which means you can't pay your bills, which means you're irresponsible. So through not being a numbers person, right, you are being irresponsible by not putting the numbers first.
Yeah, 100%. I can see that now.
So what do you take it to mean about yourself that by not being a numbers person, you've lost money, left it on the table, and you just spiral down this like irresponsible rabbit hole?
I think that it's created a cycle of money issues where I have to like work 100 times harder in order to like I eventually get debt free and I get my finances right. But then something somehow like an injury happened, or when COVID happened, like all these things, I'm having to like reinvent a new wheel and figure out new ways to make money. And I just go through this cycle of like having it, losing it, having it, losing it. Like it has not been consistent with it. And the only way to gain, like, because I want to have wealth so that I don't have to worry about paying bills, so that I can just do what I want to do and help people. And like, if I'm leading a retreat and there's money in the bank and I have abundance of it. Like if there's someone that really needed to go on a retreat because of the healing and money was an issue for them, I would want to be in surplus enough to like gift a scholarship or have like partly it paid for them, to be able to do it. Like I want to be comfortable enough in me in order to have a surplus to help others. Because I can see myself getting to that point again. I just some things have got to shift because I can't just keep working really hard and then losing it all and working really hard and losing it all. Like the reason I now know the reason I could live that whole year without really working for 11 months is because I had a really good first year and I didn't even know that I had made that much money. And that was the reason I was able to like still keep my practice afloat, my car paid and my condo not being foreclosed on while I wasn't working. But I didn't know it because I wasn't the numbers person beforehand. I didn't even realize that that was like I knew I was living off of my business bank account, but I didn't realize that I had had such a good year. And then it gets kind of foreshadowed of me like, well, now I don't have the money to like pay the IRS. And so like now I can't pay the taxes and now I'm struggling to like have to make more payments and more medical payments and all this stuff, right? So
So
I wanted
how
to celebrate, like, yay, I had such a great year. And then, like, part of it was a little shadowed by, like, well, now I don't have even the money to, like, pay that back, which if I had been working the way I was, then that would have been an issue and I would have had it.
okay, so how is it a problem if you have the money that you want?
It's not a problem to have the money that I want. I want the money that I want. And I want to have enough to not, I want to have enough to not think about the money, that it's just there. But then I'm not giving attention to the money and the numbers. That's the problem. That's the loop apparently. So I'm not connecting something somewhere. Huh.
So if you've been going through this cycle, right? This like I have it and then I lose it. I have it and then I lose it. I have it, then I lose it. Unconsciously, right? Once you have the money that you want, what regardless of if you know it exists or not, once you have the money that you've been working towards, unconsciously you're creating something to happen so you lose it all, right? Whether it be an injury, whatever it is, having to switch from in person to online, like whatever it is, you've created this like, well, we don't get to have that anymore because now we've got this shit to deal with. So there is a problem with having the money you want. There's a reason you're not wanting to keep it. So that's what I want to find.
Mm.
It's not the problem's not in the money down here where it's like, well, now I have to work really, really hard to get it back up. No, it's the problem is keeping it here. So
Yeah.
how is it a problem to have this money and keep it?
Yeah, I don't know because that is funny. Because like even when I mean I've even in foreign countries when I lived in Brazil, didn't speak the language, all the things. I figured out how to make enough money, do the things. Like I made my own business. I started it. Like all the
Making the money is not the problem. It's
like
keeping it.
I've always figured out how to make it and have it. But it's yeah, like how do I keep it? And then in order to build growth, you have to keep that and keep elevating up. And I haven't, it's like I get to that plateau, it goes away. I get to a new plateau, it goes away, right? Like so I keep hitting these new income ceilings, but you're right, I'm not maintaining it. So why am I not maintaining it? That's a great fucking question. That's a great question. That would be my $1 million question.
Like, if
Like,
only I knew. So if you have the money that you want and you're able to sustain it, what are you afraid of?
I mean, I guess because I've never seen anything different that I wouldn't be able to keep it, right? Like then it would go away again. All right. If I had money, my unconscious mind were to know if you had money and you kept money, what are you afraid of? Yeah, it's still like it'll be taken from me. Not that I'll lose it, it'll be taken from me.
So I want to go back to something that you said. you're like, oh, I want to have the money I want so that if somebody needs the money, I can give it to them. You're still creating a situation where you have the money you want and you're getting rid of it
Yes.
under the disguise of being a good person. It doesn't matter. It's
Yeah.
a, it's the same thing, right? I have the money. Oh, somebody needs help. I'm going to scholarship this. I'm going to get, and then you're going to be like, damn, I did it again. I don't have the money I want. Now I have to work really hard to get back where I want to be.
I've given it away. I've been taken advantage of so much. I've loaned money over the years. Now I don't even call it a loan. I just gift it to people because I know it's never going to come back. But I do. I give my money away. Or I have a fear. I just said it out loud that someone's going to take it from me because it has been taken from me so many times. But I've also just given it away like over and over and over again. Wow. Okay.
So what do you take it to mean about yourself that you either allow yourself to not be paid back instead of like pestering, like, okay, like, you gonna pay me back now? You gonna pay me back now?
Mm-hmm.
Or you keep giving it away? What do you take that to mean about yourself?
I think it goes back to childhood of the thought, like the memory was my mom would always be like, well, you're lucky that you got new clothes for school. I couldn't afford to get it for me too. I always felt guilty having given things to me because there was always something that was held over my head. Like if I was given something, then there was like this, now you owe me. It was earned, right? Like love was earned. I've worked, I realized that love was earned and I've worked through that, but somehow something is still, because I'm giving it away. People are going to take it from me. When I have it, how will that make me feel? Yeah, will it make me feel guilty if I have more than other people, because then I want to help them to make sure that they're not in deficit because I know what it feels like. So I think I know what it feels like to be in deficit and to be lack and to be poor, like legit. Um and I don't ever want to have that. Like I've worked so hard for my money to make sure that I never felt poor or I didn't have enough or that I didn't have to pick one thing over another, because that's how most of my life was done. Like if you got that, well, you can't have this. You have to pick one because we don't have enough money for both. So somehow that has created some sort of something that's happening now. You can have it, but you can't have it for long because then you got to give it away, because then
And consider how you are almost, I don't know if like avenging is the right word, but it's like you're now giving with no strings attached because everything that you received had strings attached.
100%.
Now you're
Yeah.
like, ha, screw you. Look at what
Yeah.
I can do now. And so you're almost like feeding that inner child who wanted to receive with no strings attached. And your adult you is like, why am I doing that?
Yeah. So
Because
the
you're
Lord,
like, stop it.
like, I have plenty here. You can have some. Like, I don't need a bag. Like, you can just have it. Like, I want you to be happy.
Right. So you still have the guilty feeling no matter what. So stop it. If you're gonna feel guilty, at least be guilty with your money.
Yes.
Like if you're gonna feel the same thing in both situations, you might as well keep the thing that you're working towards, right?
Yeah, no shit. I work hard. Like, literally, my fingers to the bone some days. Like,
So
oh,
and right, we don't want you feeling guilty. So we're gonna figure that one out in a second. And at least it's like if you're gonna feel the thing, keep your money.
yeah.
So
Have my money and not have it feel anything other than awesome and good and like excited and proud,
mhm.
happy, and knowing that I can see this energy of exchange of like, you'll put all this time and energy into it and like look at all this awesomeness that you get to now have, like
Yeah.
freedom to travel and do all the things. And
So I want to bring in like the the other kind of half of what we're coaching on is like the money's dirty, not wanting to touch it, things like that. The picture that I see in my brain is almost like inside of your brain you have, it's like a little dragon, and you know dragons, they like to hoard, they like to keep all their things, yeah, but your dragon's like allergic to all the gold. It's like, no thank you, get me as far away from this as possible. So there's this like really nice shiny pile of like money over here, and your dragon wants nothing to do with it. He doesn't want to collect it, he doesn't want to keep it, he just wants to get it out. And that's like the picture I see in my brain as we're
I
kind of talking through this.
I literally keep my money in a safe in a closet hidden away. That's why when the idea of like taking the cash out to like touch it, I was like, it needs to be in the safe, in the fireproof safe, right? It needs to be the fireproof safe, like in the closet, being tucked away for like a rainy day, which I did have money for a rainy day when all this stuff happened to keep paying rent. But like, I don't want it to have to rain to take away. Like, I would like to have it and do fun stuff with it and not have to just pay bills with it.
Yeah. So
It's funny.
I'm kind of I'm wanting to bring this in because we had brought up like the childhood and stuff with your mom, and you had also brought up something with your mom around like the
Mm,
cleanliness, the needing to. So I want to start to bring those both in. So when it comes to having the money that you want and
yeah.
acknowledging its existence, whether that's through being a numbers person or even just being aware that it's there, through that, how, if at all, are you resisting it, pushing it away because you don't want to interact with it?
I resisting it. I don't know, because I get it and then I put it away, and I squirrel it away. Like I called it, I squirrel money away. I mean, I've done that because I think I never wanted to be in lack, right? Because there was always lack growing up. So I figured out a way how to save it myself. But it's almost like out of sight, out of mind. I don't want to look at it because then I'll spend it and then it won't be there anymore. So I like keep it, hoard it away until I like need it versus like having it to use for things that I want. Like I have a weird way of categorizing money. Like if it's cash money, then that is like my travel money. And then I have like my Apple Cash money, which is like the spending at like groceries and gas. So I don't have to use my card. And then I have my card money for like bigger things. So I use different money in different sections for different things. And I keep them very isolated from each other, which is interesting that I don't think I realized. I do know that I compartmentalize things like, and I didn't realize I was really doing that with money because it's kept me safe, right? Like these sections and this and this and that, like that's how I've kept myself safe and going all the years of learning
So,
that,
how, if at all, has that kept you from the abundance that you want?
because I don't think I see it as a whole. Like I don't actually notice or see all the money that I have as a whole. I mean, now I don't have a lot, but when I did, I didn't even see it as being as abundant as it was.
Mhm.
I just knew that it was really great that I had it because I got to keep my practice and my condo and my car, and I didn't default in anything, which is a miracle.
Mhm.
Oh,
Right. So it then makes sense that they would be so like in their own space because of the not a numbers person, right? Than having to keep track of everything like all together. It's like way easier to manage if like there's a little bit here and a little bit here and a little bit here, and I don't have to look at them all at the same time.
yeah, I don't even think I was aware of it, but yeah, it was like I know that this is cash for this, and this is Apple Cash for that, and this credit card is that, the bank account is that, and the business is separate than the personal. And yeah, I've never really looked at it all together. It's all been separate entities.
So then what happens when you look at them all together?
Well, I think that's what scared me is I had to now because I had to switch money from here to there and I couldn't pay a credit card here and I had to put a balance on another one. And it was like the first time I had to like intermingle because of necessity,
Mm.
because I was out of all the other options that normally had surplus.
So using money out of necessity, how is that a problem?
Because I don't want to have to need it. I want to just have it because it's something that we need, but I don't want to have to feel that needing of it. Because then it makes me feel like a needy kid that, but I have my basics covered. Where when I was younger, it was hard to keep the basics covered, even though we did. But it was always brought to my awareness that I was lucky to have the things.
So I'm curious. So the money is dirty, right? I'm curious if that's not just on like the physical, like touching of it, but in the having of it. Like how, if at all, does like having the money make you feel dirty?
Okay, so I think there is a little bit tied to the fact that my grandfather had wealth, my mom's dad, and my mom was always trying to get his approval. And I I think there is still something tied to him and his money and my mom always having to reach his approval. Like, and I ended up, like I've said it before, like I ended up being like felt like I was like the showboating or show pony that got like look at my daughter, she's doing straight A's and doing this. She was like always trying to win his approval through me. So I had to look and be a certain way for like the approval of that. And so I would get the new clothes and the outfits so that I could look nice to go see granddad, so that like I think he wouldn't notice that she was really struggling to make ends meet, and she was too proudful to ask for help for him. Like she would rather us struggle and me feel guilty about getting something than to like air out her dirty laundry or let anybody know that we were struggling. And so I think that when my grandfather wasn't loving in like a normal grandfather way, that was only a check for Christmas and my birthday, that the money did feel like an exchange of like I got paid for being like good behavior kind of thing. So it didn't feel good. It felt kind of dirty in that. And like there was always again strings attached to it, right? Like I couldn't just receive to receive. There was always like you had to do the things in order to get the things. And I think that's probably why I've given away so much, is because I was like, when I did have it, it felt good to give and not have to worry about it, that I had enough to be able to give. But I'd like to keep that because I don't want to have to keep going through this cycle because it's exhausting.
Okay, so I'm just going to reflect back what you said because I don't think you quite made the connection that your mouth made. Okay. I'm just
Uh,
going to say it back to you.
please.
So, your grandfather had money, and your mom did what she needed to do to get his approval to get money via you. You were the show pony. You were the way, you were like the vessel that was used to get money so that your mom could then go back into this cycle of like getting more money from him so that she could keep up her appearances.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, having the money that you want to have is going to make you feel dirty because you're going to think that you had to sacrifice some part of yourself to get it. You had to show pony your way to get it
Mm-hmm.
via the approval of your clients, the people around you.
Mm-hmm.
So when I say that, what comes up for you?
Sucks.
Mm.
It sucks that I still feel like I had to put on a bit of a a show, but it was in a different way. I actually got really vulnerable and I was like, I actually need money. I took a step, unlike my mom, and was like, I need money. And I had a friend that did a charity, hypnotherapy show for me. And I made a GoFundMe and I actually asked for money because I was like, I don't want to lose everything that I've worked for. So I asked for it, and that was really hard, but I had nothing to be able to give in response back, and it was the first time I showed myself that I could receive without having to give anything, and that there wasn't anything tied. So that felt good, but it sucks that now, like, that there's something still that is not making sense and I can't hold on to it.
So the money that you made via like the go like the no strings attached money, the I didn't have to do anything for it money. I'm going to make a mind read here and correct me if I'm wrong. That's the money that you probably kept. Like that money probably stayed around a lot longer than the money that you did via other methods.
Yeah, because those went into like my direct personal checking account and it actually just paid for rent once a month. But the money I was spending was my cash money and the things if I did have something on the that I was using cards cash. Yeah.
So while yes, not being a numbers person is a problem, it really has to do with the fact that you feel like you're still this show pony having to get the approval and the money from people so that you can whatever, so you can have the money you want to have, but then when you have that money you feel gross and so you get rid of it, and then that's your cycle. You show pony for the approval and the money, you get it and you're like yeah, and then you're like no, and then you get rid of it.
Yeah.
So what do you take it to mean about yourself that you have are looking through this for this like approval and money via your clients or your business?
I don't know because I never really saw like I never personally wanted to see money as a status symbol, but it was very much thrown in my throat of like with people with money had a different lifestyle and skill set. I mean, honestly, I mean, it was to see as black as white. My dad's dad was like the farmer country bumpkin family. And then my mom's dad was like, you go to the yacht club for Christmas Eve dinner and watch the boat parade. Like, and you had to dress up and cross your ankles. And my grandmother went to finishing school and like you had to act a certain way because that's what was expected for someone who had money. There was a different demeanor versus going to my cousins where we just like play and like have bonfires and horseback riding and you didn't have to like put on a show. So, I mean, I work with very wealthy clients and I do believe that they can be totally down to earth and they're not putting on a show. But I think that when you think about going to like fine dining restaurants or places like that, like you dress up, you act a certain way, like your demeanor changes to kind of chameleon yourself into it. And it's actually important, I think, for me to be in those high end places to like show myself that like this is where you want to live. Like this should just be the normal to have the money to eat and drink the fine wine when you want to and not it be like
But you don't want to. You don't want to do that because you feel like you're a show pony again. You feel like your mom is dressing you up so that you can get the approval from the rich people.
but then somehow I still kind of want to be in that world. But
Yeah,
with
because that's all you've known.
putting on a show, I just want to live in it. I don't want to have to like earn my way into it or be different than I am. Because I am a giving person and I want to be able to give freely and help others because I know what it's like not to have. And I don't
So
go back.
what you said in those two examples, right? Going to the yacht club for Christmas dinner versus going to your dad's side of the family, which was way more you got to like run around and be yourself.
Be a kid. Yeah.
You, this is the one you want to be. You want to run around and be yourself. You don't
Yes.
want to go to the yacht club and cross your ankles and put your pinky up with whatever, right? It's like,
Yeah.
so what I know you're trying to say is that you want to be this person in this atmosphere,
Yes.
and you're like, I don't know how to do that because I've been told that you can't be this here.
Yeah. It was like two separate worlds. Everything was separate. Like it was one way and one way. So how do you have an elevated experience but be fully authentic yourself?
Right. So what I was saying before was you don't want to go to the fancy restaurants and dress up because that's what you're supposed to do. You want to go to the fancy restaurants and dress up because you fucking feel like it.
Yeah. Because I like putting on a dress and makeup and feeling.
Right. It's not because, oh, that's what's expected of this. So
Yeah.
that is the very like fine line
Yeah.
difference of being the show pony and being yourself.
Yes.
It's I mean, it's really choice.
Yeah.
It's I'm choosing to do this because I want to, not because it's expected of me. I'm choosing to go to the yacht club for Christmas Eve dinner because I enjoy it versus I'm doing it because that's what you're supposed to do.
You're obligated to it.
Right. So,
I'm a grown ass adult and I do what I want. And so why can't I just like feel the same in all the environments? Like I can chameleon
because
put on a show
you
to.
said it, because you said it. You said you have to act a certain way if you have money. You
Mm-hmm.
have to behave and have a specific demeanor if you have money. So, because of the way that you grew up, right? Because of the way that you were conditioned through this, you are like, there is no other way to like have money other than the way that you're supposed to look like you have it.
Yeah.
There hasn't quite been the disconnection that you can have money and do whatever the heck you want. Like go be the Adam Sandler of the of the world, right? Like show up to the red carpet in like your bum clothes. Who cares? He doesn't,
Mm-hmm.
and he makes more money than you right now, and he doesn't give a fuck. So
Right.
so it's it's start looking at breaking that narrative, right? So what do you need to know that when you know it, you can break that narrative and you can behave and be the person that you are in any setting, rich or poor?
I think it would just be having more experiences with it and with other people to like reinforce that. Um, and I think that there's only a few handful of friends or people that I believe embody that. And it was actually one of my clients that I had today. I mean, she owns this amazing restaurant. She has lots of money. She has a beautiful home, but she wears hippie clothes and is like, we're so excited because in a couple of weeks we're going to a springs and we're going to like cook out and hang out in the spring and be in a private cabin for the springs and like do fun stuff and just play and be kids and play and go canoeing and swimming and just all the fun stuff that you get to do in a Florida spring. So like she is one of the examples that I would say is like that hippie down to earth, like, things, but it has a very elevated life because I know that she is comfortable with money with her beautiful home and, this beautiful place that she owns and all the stuff. But when you look at her, you wouldn't think that, so I would think that that's a really good positive projection of like she's authentically her. She doesn't care. She comes in her hippie, dresses and flip-flops and doesn't have to put on a show that she's anything else than she is. But I know that she's very well off and she's also very generous. Like she's allowing us to come to this cabin even though she's rented out for the week and not expecting anything except for like bringing what you want to eat and drink and share with the group. So she's very giving in that aspect.
Notice how she's giving and she's not giving her money away.
Yes.
How you can still be the giving person you want to be and not literally giving money away. Mhm.
So I think having more people and experiences like that, because I don't know, like what I've seen in the past is I have friends, like, especially, no offense, but like a lot of healer friends, they don't have a lot of money to go do nice things, right? Because we give all of our money away a lot of times, and they're not great with money. And like I always say, when I do like facilitating with people that are in the spiritual world, like I'm like, how, like, we're in this earth, like, you need to be on time, you need to show up. Like, there's earthly things that we need to be present and grounded for, that, like, are important when you're running a business. And I have found that it's really hard to work with other people, and that I have prided myself that I'm also business minded and woo wooey, and that you can be both. But I did realize that a business person is different than a numbers person. It feels differently, even though that's the same freaking thing. I don't know why I've again separated and compartmentalized that I could be a businesswoman and strong in my spirituality, but I can't be a numbers person. Because the number, I guess, goes back to the tangible money and feeling dirty with the money. Like, it comes back to that family thing. So that's got to shift. This is like enough. I'm done.
So what does it look like when you get to be authentically you, being comfortable with the money, when you can look at your all of your money, not
Yeah.
just a section of it, but all of your money,
Yeah. And
and
all.
you are just showing up the way that you do, the way that you are, without having to be something else, where you just get to say, this is me, and this is what I get to do. I know that I can make the money, and look at the money that I get to have and what I can do with it. When you can show up like that, what's different about wanting to know your numbers?
I think, I mean, it would it would feel empowering to like come from that place of knowing, right? Because when you are that numbers person, you feel comfortable with the numbers, and you know exactly what you need to get and do, and like then how to maintain it, right? Like, and like, I have never looked, like when you would balance a checkbook, back in the day. I don't do that anymore, but I used to. If I gifted it away, it wasn't coming from a checkbook. It was 9 times out of 10 coming in from the cash that I had saved. So like I never even wrote it out as like a deposit out of my account. Does that make sense? So like I think that it would show me that if I saw all the money all together, that if I was a numbers person, I'd be tracking what came in and went out and made sure that I could maintain it. Like that there was more coming in than going out.
That sounds like some great inspired action steps to be taking, right?
Yeah, like the
Because
action being.
because being a numbers person, by your definition, right, is somebody who understands and is comfortable with the money, right? It if you haven't been that yet, you have to work towards getting there, right? It's not a magic switch you can flip and then automatically be like, yeah, I'm a numbers person. Woo! Right? But it's saying I want to be comfortable with this, so I'm going to do it.
Right.
Right? I want to know what's coming and going. I want to know my numbers for my retreat so that I can have the most profitable retreat that I can have. Right? That is through, you get that through your inspired action steps. You get that through taking the action and doing the thing.
Mm-hmm.
So knowing that you can go out there and be empowered to just be yourself and go look at what you got, where it's going, how much you need, all the things. How much more skill are you going to develop in doing that?
Hmm. Yeah, because it is a skill set that I've never really had or practiced or done. So it would be amazing to have that skill set. And I would love for it to just come naturally and not be like frustrating, because Elena, literally, I had to like call up my marketing person and be like, help me make these numbers make sense. Like, I can't figure out how to add 20% and then make a payment plan and then create where we could do like an early bird special and still make sure that we cover all the things. Like, I literally couldn't do the numbers and I was getting so frustrated that it didn't make sense. I was like, the math isn't mathing. And I had to call someone. I had to like phone my friend, my
And
marketing,
that's okay.
help me
That is
make
not a problem. It doesn't, the numbers don't have to be your genius. You get
okay.
to give yourself some grace. Like you can do basic math, that's fine. Like, but like all of the things, it doesn't have to be your genius. So being able to have the resource to call somebody up and say, hey, can you help me make sense of this? The fact that you're even asking shows that you want to be in the numbers.
Yes.
So that's not a problem. You don't have to know it all. You don't have to do it all.
Okay.
That's a lot of freaking pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Oh,
stop trying to do it all. You don't have to. The fact
oh,
that you just want to be in the numbers and you want to understand it and figure it out, and then you do that through calling somebody or asking for some support, not a problem at all. In fact, it actually is going to clean up a lot of space on your plate for you to go actually do more of your genius to then make more money
yes, yes,
that
yes,
you
yes.
can then take over here and be like, help me understand this.
Yeah. Well, like literally it took my tax person years to finally convince me to go to QuickBooks to have everything like in a system, because I was like a paper file or like receipt, cash and check like only.
Can't help you there.
Yeah. So I'm like, she's moved me into the 20th century. I have a card reader and like things get into it. And I do see, and I do like that QuickBooks says like, woohoo, you have money in your account. And it does give you like an actual like showing that like money has been deposited in your account. And I think that's really good for neurology to be like, yay, look at that. Like money's actually going in, because now it isn't as tangible, because I used to only take cash and check, so you're always taking it. Now everything's like a card reader. So it's not as tangible. So it's like, there's part of me that wants to touch it, but then I'm also like, well, I want to wash my hands after that.
Well, okay, this is going to be like a random example, but it's like if you're out and about and you have to go to the bathroom, are you not going to go use the closest bathroom available because you don't want to have to wash your hands after because it's gross in there? No. You're going to be like, I have to pee. Let me go to the bathroom and then I'll wash my hands after. It's not a big deal.
Right.
So then touch your money and then wash your hands after. It's not a big deal.
Right.
Like,
So
do
true.
you see how like ridiculous it sounds when you put the same thing in a different situation?
Yeah.
It's not a problem. And you
No.
said so at the beginning. You're like, washing my hands is not a problem.
Yeah. But
So
I was
then
like,
touch your money.
then
Snow angel your money.
I don't want to bring it around with me and touch it all the time. Like, but yeah, who cares? I just wash my hands more.
How's that a problem?
It's not. I've heard the money box like 3 times, and this last time was like, why am I still not doing it? Like, what is the resistance?
So when you are embracing those positive projections, the only reason you can see those positive projections outside of you is because they're inside of you. So you already are the things, you already have the things. It's a matter of then embodying them and embracing them, right? And bringing your awareness to them. So look at that friend and client who's so comfortable with her money, who is authentically herself, and she has like so much money and she just shows up however she wants to show up, right? She's generous in a way that doesn't include her giving money away, but allowing people to enjoy her wealth with her.
Mm-hmm.
You have all of those qualities and characteristics in yourself already. So now it's just about embracing them. It's about
Yeah.
embodying them. It's about
Yeah.
making the decision, no matter how uncomfortable it is, right? And I think this is like one of like Trina's sayings, and she'll say it every once in a while. Is just like personal development work is learning to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And then the more you do that, the less uncomfortable things become. So if
Right.
a first you have a little cringe as you like count your money box each morning. By like a week in, it's not even going to matter.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
don't let that initial little hump stop you from like the mountain of money on the other side.
Yeah, that makes sense. Because I do want to prove to my neurology that money is fun and that I can have it all the time and touch it, feel it, and be with it. Like I understand, I get the reasoning for it. It's just the third time I've heard it, I just still haven't actually done it. So it's like, why am I not being okay with this?
Yeah. And it makes sense, right? With the show ponying, with the it coming from a place. So now it gets to be you can take a little bit of the emotion out of it. But kind of like how you were saying before, it's like numbers people are very matter of fact.
Yeah.
Be a bit more matter of fact with it. But
Mhm.
I'm just counting my cash box today. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 99, 99, 100. Perfect. Awesome. Great. Right. It's like, oh, now I've got 1,000. Oh, now I have 3,000. Now I have this. Now I have that. Like by the time you're going through it, you can start to add more emotion back in. But if initially you need to take some of that emotion out and just be a bit more matter of fact, be like, I'm just going to count my cash box because
Like check off the list of things to
I just want to know what's in here.
do. Hmm.
Got to get all my ducks in a row. And you take some of the emotion out, that can also ease some of the emotion that comes around it. Then by the time the matter of fact is not as like, ooh, which is probably going to be like 3 or 4 times. But by the time you're like, oh yeah, this is not a problem, you start adding some of the emotion back, and you're like, hell yeah, look at me, I got $1,500, woo-hoo! Right? Like you could start adding the excitement and the joy back in. And it's okay to take yourself to a place where you have to start. You don't have to start where you want to be.
Right. The only way to start is just to start. So then, and this is going to sound like a ridiculous question, but like, can I keep it in my fireproof safe box? Because
It's just a big money box, but sure. It's just a big cash box, but sure.
I'm like, there is the part of like the things that are important, like my passports and that. Like, if I'm gone and something happens, I'd hate for like, all the cash to just burn up. So,
That is not a problem. Your cash box can be whatever you want it to be,
okay.
safe or not. Now, I would get into the habit of counting it every day.
Yes.
Right? I would get into the habit of don't count it in the safe. Take it out of the safe, count it. When you're done, you can put it back.
Yes.
But don't keep it locked up at all times.
Yeah,
Bring
that
it
makes
out into like the
another,
count, and then you can bring it back.
yeah, that's good. I
Mhm.
like that. Yeah. That feels safer and easier and actually more tangible that I would actually do it.
Yeah, you don't have to start where you want to be. You need to start where you're at. You'll
Hmm.
get to where you want to be a lot faster than you think if you start where you're at. Instead of trying to start where you think you need to start, that's so much harder.
Yeah. That's that is the expectation a lot of times I put on myself, I think, in a lot of situations is starting from there versus here.
Yeah. Just start where you're at. And that goes for literally everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
And then you drop
Start
down
where
the station and be like, yes, you want that end result, but it's okay. You don't have to expect that from yourself now.
Right. Right. And like this is like another kind of example where it's like this, like people do the same thing with like working out. They'll like go to the gym. They're, oh my gosh, that person's lifting that weight. That person's lifting that weight. I have to start lifting that weight. No, you're not.
Yeah.
That is not, you're not able to like bench press 125 pounds yet. Right. You
Yeah.
need to probably just start with 45 pounds. Like start with where you're comfortable.
Yeah.
So
And
same
that
thing.
sense as a personal trainer and body worker and energy worker, like I get like, coming back right now, I'm like, I'm excited that I can ride a stationary bike for 10 minutes, but like that's a big deal when you were like, barely walking and on crutches. Like that feels like a really great leap. I didn't start there. I had to get the range of motion back and then get to where I can, stationary bike and start doing more stuff in PT. Like I understand that it takes baby steps, but it's still progressing and you're still moving and you're still making progress.
Right. So same thing with your money.
Same thing with my money. Okay. Put it in that perspective makes a lot more sense.
And same thing with the knowing your numbers. start where you're at. You don't have to know it all.
Okay.
And you don't ever have to know it all. Like,
Yeah. But there's other people that do my computer work in the money part, right? Like that's
yes, yes. Because like a year down the line, you're not going to be like, okay, you should know how to do the number. No, hire somebody for that.
okay.
Like
Yeah,
outsource that shit.
that's true. Because yeah, I don't necessarily want to put all my energy into that. I'd much rather it just be taken care of and knowing that I have someone that's taking care of it. So it's still taken care of. I don't have to just put my personal energy into it. That feels better.
Good.
That
So
feels
you've got some good inspired action, right? Start just knowing, getting familiar with it, being okay with being a little bit uncomfortable,
yes.
because it's okay. That means that you're making progress. That means that you're doing something,
Yes.
right? It's I would so much rather you be uncomfortable doing something than comfortable not doing something.
100%.
So go just do it. Just jump in and just know that you don't have to start over here. You can start where you're at.
So true. I got this. Thank you. That does.
Good.
And it does feel better that I could just like once a night, like take my stuff out, count it, da da da, put it back in, wash my hands, know that it's there, know that I'm creating more wealth, knowing that, it's safe and it's comfortable and it feels good to have that.
100%.
Yeah, that feels much better. I didn't watch or pay attention to any of the comments, but I hope that was supportive for other people too.
100%. 100%. Yes. There's lots of love. There's lots of like, oh my gosh. So, helped a lot of people,
Good.
which is the goal.
Yes.
So thank you, everybody. I know we went a couple minutes over, and if anybody does have any questions, I would love to answer them. So if you have questions, start typing them into the chat while I kind of wrap up with Leona real quick. So if you have questions, type them into the chat. So Leona, how you
Yeah.
feeling? Do you feel complete? You feel ready to go out there and do some action, take some action?
Yeah, I do. And I do like the fact that I can still outsource and I can still keep my money safe. And that feels really good because I was projecting that like I needed to like know it and figure it out and have it and be like, oh, okay with like, having my money carried around with me all the time and touching it all the time. I was just like, nope, that doesn't feel good. So it's great to be reminded because I tell my clients doing something's better than nothing. Like 10 minutes of breathing or yoga or stretching is better than nothing. So you got to start where you're at. And so I can get it at the other aspect. I don't know why I can't seem to figure out how to do that on my own when it comes to money. So this was really helpful that I can relay that feeling and understanding in other areas of life. So yeah, no, that feels much better. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. All right. So it doesn't look like there's any questions, which great. Love it. So since we went a little bit over, I am gonna let you guys go. Thanks so much for hanging out today, guys. I believe we do not have a call next week.
Right.
There is no hot seat next week, but there will be one the week after. So I will see you all in a couple weeks. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye. Yes, you're so welcome. Bye.
I'm just reading the things. I'm glad this was helpful.
Bye, everybody. Bye.